Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers with your host, Bang and Dang, coming back at you with another true crime episode, another popular true crime episode. This one really was, well, not a trial of the century, but a crime of the century.
it's around the same time as Selena, wasn't it?
Yeah, coincidence, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I know I said last episode on the Selena episode that we were doing a Carlo Gambino, but it just dawned on me that there's an extra week in November, so there's still November. So that'll be the next episode will be Carlos Gambino.
I don't know how you just dawned on you since we just did Thanksgiving episode last week and we established there was 5 weeks.
Sorry, bud. Remember. Can't remember one show to the next.
Right.
Yeah, we got the JonBenet Patricia Ramsey
Oh, you guys remember this case.
murder, which still remains officially unsolved to this day, roughly 27 years ago.
I remember when this was happening.
Everybody remembers when it was happening.
Right.
American child beauty queen killed at the age of 6 in her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. They
What's
found
up with Colorado?
it's an evil place, man. They found a
Yes,
ransom note in the home, and her dad, John, found her body in the basement of their house about 7 hours after she had been reported missing.
Okay.
And as you'll get to see, there's a lot of questions surrounding who did it, how it happened.
I never really dug into this. I knew about it when I was a kid. Remembered that there was no outcome. And I've never, ever, I don't think I've ever read into this.
They had a home in Charlevoix.
Did they?
Still, I think he still does.
I don't even know. Yeah, I've never even looked into this story or even watched a documentary or anything of this.
Well, there you go. We're all going to learn together, aren't we?
Right.
Before that, go check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Get all of our shows that we do on the day that they're released on the podcast apps. Outlaws, Gunslingers, Battles of the American Civil War, Lee and Corey on the case, as well as clips, shorts, and our YouTube exclusive Dart League, which we're only on season 3 of on YouTube, but we have 8 seasons recorded. Took about 3 months off, and this very night that we are doing this podcast episode, we will be starting season 9. So we got a lot of Dart content exclusive for YouTube, so go check us out at Bang Dang Network. And if you're listening on podcasts or Spotify or any other podcast app, give us a review and share us with your friends. JonBenet Ramsey, born August 6, 1990, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, huh? Younger of 2 children of Patricia Patsy Ramsey and JonBenet Ramsey, my bad. She has an older brother. She had an older brother named Burke, so I'm assuming we'll learn what happened to that guy, who was one of the kids accused.
He was born in 87.
He was. JonBenet's first name combines her father's first and middle names.
Aw.
And her mother's first name was used as her middle name.
Oh, wow.
She was enrolled in kindergarten at the time of her death at High Peaks Elementary School in Boulder, Colorado. Everybody knows she was a little beauty queen.
Right.
Child
pageant and all that good stuff. According to statements that Patsy gave to authorities, 26 December year 1996, she realized that old JonBenet was missing after she found a 2.5-page written ransom note on the kitchen staircase at the Ramsey's family Boulder residence. The note demanded $118,000, which is equivalent to $220,177 in 2020.
Oddly specific.
Right. John pointed out to the police first on the scene that amount was nearly identical to his Christmas bonus of the prior year, which suggested that someone who would have access to that info would be involved in this very crime. He was like, you know what's funny, guys? This was like, who the hell gets a $118,000 bonus for Christmas?
When you're loaded like these guys are. Investigators then looked at several theories behind the dollar amount demanded, considering employees at Access Graphics who may have known of the amount of John's prior bonus. I'm guessing
Who would known? Just
whoever does payroll, I guess,
right,
and
payroll.
bosses. They also considered the possibility that the ransom demand was a reference to Psalm 118 and spoke to religious sources to determine possible relevance. What does Psalm 118 say?
Well, if they're saying that, then there had been something like that in the ransom note itself. That let them believe.
Give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever.
Right.
Not sure why that would have to do with anything.
Right.
The ransom note also appears to echo film dialogue The film's ruthless people, Ransom, Escape from New York, Speed, and Dirty Harry have acceptance as sources.
Really? What did Dirty Harry have to do with anything?
Obviously, whatever was said in this ransom note was said in the movie as well.
Ransom note, unusually long. FBI told the police that it was very unusual for such a note to be written at the crime scene. The police believed that the note was staged because it did not have any fingerprints except for Patsy's and the authorities who had handled it, and because it included an unusual use of exclamation marks and initialisms. The note and a practice draft were written with a pen and notepad from the Ramsey home. Okay, see, there's that.
And a practice draft, so this whoever did it wrote out a draft version, left it.
Oh my, yeah, dude, I don't know about this.
According to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation report, there are indications that the author of the ransom note is Patricia Ramsey.
Really?
However, the evidence fell short of a definitive conclusion. Michael Baden, a board-certified forensics pathologist who had consulted with both sides of the case, said he had never seen a note like it in his 6 years' experience, and that he did not think it was written by an outside stranger either. So, right from the get-go. Federal court ruled it highly unlikely that Patsy wrote the note, citing 6 certified handwriting experts. The court bemoaned the existence of self-proclaimed experts without credentials, trying to enter the case by accusing Patsy without scientific basis.
Wait, did all 6 handwriting experts say that it wasn't hers?
Apparently.
You know how those experts are like, no.
I'm pretty sure Patsy, or at least her husband, had some political relationships.
Something's going on.
Right.
Well, look at this. I was hoping they would do this. The ransom note reads as follows. It says, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We do respect your business, but not the country that it serves.
Do was crossed out, by the way.
Yeah, what do I?
So it was on the note.
We just respect her, but we don't need to put do in there. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe, unharmed, and if you want to see her in 1997, you must follow.
If you want her to see 1997?
Oh, yeah. If you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to this letter.
To the letter. Y'all, you will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 would be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. You want any fives with that?
Want some fives with that?
Make sure that you bring an adequate size attach to the bank. What is that supposed to mean? Attach, A-T-T-A-C-H-E? Is that like a briefcase kind of thing, I guess?
I'm guessing.
When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested.
Oh, really?
If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence a earlier delivery, but that was scratched out, and instead it says pickup of your daughter.
I said we might.
So they said delivery of your daughter. Right. Instead, it scratch that out and says pickup of your daughter.
Right, because they ain't delivering it. Any deviation of my instruction will result in an immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. Damn. The 2 gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise do not provoke them. Speaking to anyone about our situation, such as the police, the FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded.
Oh, shit.
If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if there are any found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter. If you try to outsmart us, follow our instructions.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Right. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back.
All right. That also says you and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You're not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory. SBTC.
They don't have cameras. If he's getting
It is
100,
only 95, man.
still had cameras back then.
Well, I get it, but clearly they didn't.
That's crazy. The only people known to be in the house on the night of JonBenet's death were immediate family members, Patsy, John Ramsey, and their son Burke. The ransom note contained specific instructions against contacting police and friends, but Patsy telephoned the police at 5:52 a.m. That was Mountain Time. She also called family and friends.
Oh, jeez.
2 police officers responded to the 911 call and arrived at the Ramsey home within 3 minutes. Damn. They conducted a cursory search of the house, but did not find any sign of the forced entry.
Okay, well, Officer Rick French went to the basement and came to a door that was secured by a wooden latch. He paused for a moment in the front door, but walked away without opening it. Oh, what an idiot.
Oh, man.
French later explained that he was looking for an exit route used by the kidnapper, which the
Right.
closed inside peg ruled out.
Right.
I guess, but JonBenet's body was later found behind that very door.
Oh, jeez.
Still, I mean, you're not only looking for a way for the kidnapper to get out, but what if the kid's in the house?
Right. You don't know. You got to check everything. That's some piss poor detective work right there.
Well, with JonBenet still technically missing, John made arrangements to pay the ransom. A forensics team was dispatched to the house.
Wow. The team initially believed that the child had been kidnapped. JonBenet's bedroom was the only room in the house that was quartered off to prevent contamination of evidence. Why? Not the whole house.
They're figuring probably that they took her from her room.
In and out. No precautions were taken.
But why would they only cordon off her room when the notepad was clearly found in the kitchen by the stairs?
Right. I mean, this is all garbage here.
Okay.
Got the other people involved. What did this guy do for work?
Oh, we'll learn about him in a minute.
No precautions were taken to prevent contamination of evidence in the rest of the house, as we were just saying. Meanwhile, friends, victim, advocates, and the Ramsey's family minister arrived in the home to show support. Visitors, they picked up and cleaned surfaces in the kitchen. Just surfaces. Possibly destroying evidence.
Idiots. That's why I asked, why didn't they cordon off at least the kitchen as well?
Yeah, this is just bad. Boulder detective Linda Arndt
Doing their job.
Right. Linda Arndt doing her job arrived at about 8 a.m. in anticipation of receiving further instructions by the kidnappers. But there was never an attempt by anyone to claim that money.
At 1 p.m., Detective Arndt asked John Ramsey and Fleet White, my family friend, isn't it Fleet White, a family friend, to search the house to see if anything... You guys are the cops!
Right.
Why are you asking the dad to search the house? And why wouldn't the dad search the house already?
Right. Did you check all that? We swear.
Oh, wow. This is already... We're not even freaking 10 minutes in.
Right.
Well, they started their search in the basement.
Oh, wow.
Well, John opened the latch door which Officer French had overlooked, and found his daughter's body in one of the rooms.
Oh, jeez.
JonBenet's mouth was covered with duct tape. A nylon cord was found around her wrist and neck, and her torso was covered by a white blanket. John picked up the child's body and took it upstairs. Well, can't do that.
No.
When JonBenet was moved, the crime scene was further contaminated, and critical forensic evidence was disturbed for the returning forensics team.
Obviously.
Of course. This is already a shit show.
Each of the Ramseys provided handwriting, blood, and hair samples to the popo. John and Patsy participated in preliminary interview for more than 2 hours. And Burke was also interviewed within the first couple of weeks following JonBenet's death. The autopsy,
Plenty of time to get his story straight.
Yep, the autopsy revealed that JonBenet had been killed by strangulation and a skull fracture. The official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. There was no evidence of conventional rape, although sexual assault could not be ruled out. Although no semen was found, there was evidence that there had been a vaginal injury. Oh, jeez. At the time of the autopsy, the pathologist recorded that it appeared her vaginal area had been wiped with a cloth. Her death was ruled a homicide.
Well, I would assume so. A garrote was made from a length of nylon cord, and the broken handle of a paintbrush was tied around JonBenet's neck and had apparently been used to strangle her.
Jeez.
Where are they getting a nylon cord from?
I don't know.
Who has just nylon cords running around? Part of the bristle end of the paintbrush was found in a tub containing Patsy's art supplies, but the bottom third of it was never found despite extensive searching of the house by the police in subsequent days.
Doesn't matter.
The autopsy revealed a vegetable or fruit material which may represent pineapple, which JonBenet had eaten a few hours before her death. Oh, in her stomach, clearly.
Right.
Photographs of the home taken on the day when JonBenet's body was found show a bowl of pineapple on the kitchen table with a spoon in it. All right.
However, neither John nor Patsy said they remembered putting the bowl on the table or feeding pineapple to JonBenet. Police reported that they found the 9-year-old's brother, Burke Ramsey's fingerprints on the bowl. Man, could the son done it? She's getting all the attention, and
he was like, here, come up. Why don't you come and let's go have some pineapple.
Right.
And then bam, right? How would he know to put it?
Right.
He's 9 years old, do a cord with the paintbrush to, obviously, you're tightening. You use the paintbrush to obviously tighten the cord. Right. Ain't no 9-year-old going to know that.
The Ramseys have always said that Burke slept through the entire night until he was awakened several hours after the police arrived. How would they know that?
Right. December 2003, fast forward a little bit, I guess, forensic investigators extracted enough material from a mixed blood sample found on JonBenet's underwear to establish a DNA profile. That DNA belonged to an unknown male person and excluded the DNA of each of the Ramseys.
Really?
The DNA was submitted to the FBI's Combined DNA Index System, which is CODIS, a database that contains more than 1.6 million DNA profiles, whether illegally gotten or legally gotten or bought.
Right.
Yeah, but the sample did not mention any profile in the database.
Why did they wait so long to do that blood work?
DNA wasn't really that good in 95, 96. October 2016, a report said that new forensic analysis with more sensitive techniques revealed that the original DNA contained genetic markers from 2 individuals other than JonBenet.
Okay.
So, didn't have...
Well, so
could it be determined that it was from her family member or something?
Oh, it said up there that it didn't match none of the...
Yeah, but this one was more...
Ramseys.
This one was more sensitive, so...
Right.
So 2 other DNAs were found on her, which would be mom and dad, right?
Right. James Kohler was the lead investigator for the DA's office. He said that there were additional traces of male DNA found on the cord and the paintbrush that Boulder District Attorney Mary Lacey did not mention, and that there were 6 separate DNA samples belonging to unknown individuals that were found by the test.
Jeez.
Former FBI profile Candace DeLong believes that the DNA, having shown up identically in several different places on multiple surfaces, belongs to the moitier.
Former Adams County, Colorado District Attorney Bob Grant, who has assisted the Boulder's DA office on the case for many years, also believes that the DNA evidence is significant, saying that any resolution of the case would have to explain how the DNA showed up on several pieces of JonBenet's clothing.
All right.
Forensic pathologist Mark Baden, he says trace amounts of DNA can get on places and clothing from all different non-suspicious means.
All right.
There's no forensic evidence to show that this is a stranger murder.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. If it's on her clothes,
could be for anything.
There's DNA flying all around us right now.
Yeah, they're digging deep. Experts, media commentators, and the Ramseys have identified potential suspects in the case.
None of which are the cops that are identifying potential suspects, by the way.
Right. That's crazy. Boulder police initially focused almost exclusively upon John and Patsy.
I bet they did.
But by October 1997, they had over 1,600 people in their index of persons of interest.
The whole damn town.
Right. Errors that were made in initial investigation complicated the resolution of the investigation and applicable theory. Those errors included loss and contamination of evidence, lack of experienced and technical staff on the investigation, evidence shared with the Ramseys, and delayed informal interviews with parents. The last 3, loss and contamination of evidence. That's just terrible.
I'd say the biggest one is evidence shared with the Ramseys.
That one.
If you're suspecting them, you're clearly not going to share information with them.
Here's what we got. Suspect.
Stupid. Lou Smith, who was a detective who came out of retirement in early 97 to assist the Boulder County. He's like, I'm going to come out of retirement. I got to solve this.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
He assisted the Boulder County DA's office with the case. May of 98, he presented his findings to the Boulder Police with other staff members of the DA's office, concluding that the evidence pointed away from the Ramseys. They were unable to successfully challenge the police department's belief that the Ramseys were guilty, though.
Oh.
The DA's office sought to take control of the investigation. This is a shit show.
Right.
Nobody knows nothing.
What the hell's going on?
Police department's incompetent.
Wow. Due to the animosity between the police and the DA's office, the pressure to obtain a conviction, Colorado Governor Roy Romer, he interceded and named Michael Caine as special prosecutor to initiate a grand jury.
All right.
2 of the lead investigators in the case had opposing views. Both Lou Smith and Steve Thomas ultimately resigned. Smith because he believed that the investigation had incompetently overlooked the intruder hypothesis. And Thomas because the DA's office had interfered with and failed to support the Popo investigation of the case.
Yeah, well, grand jury was convened beginning September 15th, 98 to consider indicting the Ramseys for charges related to the case. 1999, the grand jury returned a true bill to charge the Ramseys with placing the child at risk in a way that led to her death and with obstruction and investigation of murder due to John Ramsey's tampering with the crime scene.
Yeah, but why would they place her at risk? What did they do? They found something out? Yeah, like an enemy or something?
They based this on the probable cause standard applied in such grand jury proceedings.
Oh.
But Boulder County DA Alex Hunter did not prosecute them because he did not believe that he could meet the higher standard of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt that is required for a criminal conviction. That's true.
Well, it's all about what you can prove. Not about what you know. It's about what you can prove, Jake. Mary Lacey, the next Boulder County District Attorney, took over the investigation from the police December 26, year 2002. April 2003, she agreed with a federal judge who sat on a 2002 libel case that evidence in the suit is more consistent with a theory that an intruder murdered JonBenet than it was with a theory that Mrs. Ramsey did. Okay. July 9th, year 2008. Boulder District Attorney's Office announced that as a result of newly developed DNA sampling and a testing techniques, which is touch DNA analysts, the Ramsey family members were excluded as suspects in this case. Finally, after how many years? Holy shit, 9 years? They're still
12.
Wow. Lacey publicly exonerated the Ramseys. So, hey, you guys can stop calling them baby killers and
murderers and
egging their house. They're like, no.
February 2nd, 2009, Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner announced that Stan Garnett, the new Boulder County DA, was turning the case over to his agency and that his team would resume investigating it. Garnett found that the statute of limitations for the crimes identified in the 1999 grand jury true bill had expired and did not pursue review of the case against the Ramseys.
Really? Wow. October 10th. Nope. October 2010. The Boulder Police reopened the cold case. New interviews were conducted following a fresh inquiry by a committee that included state and federal investigators. Police were expected to use the latest DNA technology in their investigation. So you guys got that new stuff? Why don't you check it out here and see how really good it is? It's hard to get a sample off something so old.
If it was stored properly.
There was no new information gleaned from those interviews, though. And it was reported on September 2016 that the investigation into JonBenet's death continues to be an active homicide case, per Boulder Police Chief Greg Testa.
I'm assuming as now, too. 2015, Beckner disagreed with exonerating the Ramseys, stating, exonerating anyone based on a small piece of evidence that has not yet been proved to even be connected to the crime is absurd. He also stated that the unknown DNA from JonBenet's clothing has got to be the focus of the investigation. Obviously,
right.
At this point in time, and that, until one can prove otherwise, the suspect is the donator of that unknown DNA. No shit, guy.
Right.
2016, Gordon Combs, former investigator for the Boulder County DA's office, also questioned total absolution of the Ramseys, stating, we all shed DNA all the time within our skin cells. It can be deposited anywhere at any time for various reasons that are benign. To clear somebody for various reasons that are, to clear somebody just on the premise of touch DNA, especially when you have a situation where the crime scene wasn't secure at the beginning, really is a stretch.
Right. I mean, it was just a shit show from the very beginning. Stephen E. Pitt, forensic psychiatrist hired by Boulder authorities, he said this: Lacey's public exoneration of the Ramseys was a big slap in the face to Chief Beckner and the core group of detectives who have been working on this case for years.
Right.
Wow. Right. There are two primary theories about the death of JonBenet. One is the family member theory. Boulder police initially concentrated almost exclusively upon the parents, John and Patsy Ramsey.
Sure did.
They're like, it has to be a family member. There's no signs of anything.
All right, well, before we get into those...
If the handwriting didn't match Patsy's, did they do the dad and the son's handwriting?
I think so, yeah.
And nobody matched none of that?
I guess not. Well, before we get to those family theories, let's learn a little bit about these parents of hers. Well, John was a businessman who was the president of Access Graphics. That's why he's getting $118,000. A computer software company that later became a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. His first marriage ended in divorce, 1978. 91, John had moved with Patsy, his second wife, and family to Boulder, where Access Graphics' headquarters were located. Patsy Ramsey entered JonBenet in various child beauty pageants in Boulder, where she won the titles of America's Royal Miss, Little Miss Charlevoix, Little Miss Colorado, Colorado State All-Star Kids Cover Girl, and National Tiny Miss Beauty. All of these sound weird.
Right. It's just ridiculous. Why would you even do that?
JonBenet's active role in child beauty pageants and Patsy's reported pageant mother behavior were reported by the media after the murder. Yeah, one of those dance moms.
It's crazy how popular that shit was back then, dude.
Still is.
I know, but not as it was. Or is it?
I don't know.
It's crazy, but it seemed normal when we were kids watching a movie or something and they had pageants or something in it.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie with a child pageant.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. Little Rascals.
Don't remember.
They had a little pageant in there. Or something. Did they have a pageant?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Only movie I've ever seen with any sort of pageant involved was Miss Congeniality.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's true. According to Greg McCrary, a retired profiler with the FBI, he said statistically, it's 12-1 probability that it's a family member or a caregiver.
Obviously.
Who is involved with the homicide of this
So that's
child.
statistically 12-1.
Right.
Right.
The police saw no evidence of forced entry, but they did see evidence of staging of the scene, such as the ransom note. They did not find the Ramseys cooperative in helping them solve the death of their daughter. They did not find the Ramseys cooperative. Oh, they weren't very cooperative, huh?
Apparently not.
Wow. The Ramseys had said that their reluctance was due to their fear that there would not be a full investigation for intruders, and that they would be...
Of course they would be in fear of that. They wanted to focus it on the intruders if they were the ones that did it.
Right, you morons. And that they have hastily selected as the key suspects in the case, according to the Daily King.
Dude, I hate to tell you, look at any murder case that involves like a girlfriend, a wife, a child, or something. Who's the first suspect? Always. Somebody, if it's not the husband or the dad, it's somebody in the house. Right. Clearly.
Always gonna.
You always eliminate the family members first.
And they always say, I hate to say this in a time like this, but I gotta ask. What were you doing?
Exactly.
Where were you?
Anybody knows that.
Can we get some samples from you guys?
What was where'd you go? What'd you do for the day?
Any normal, innocent person that wants to know it's gonna be like, I'll shave my head for you or whatever. Here, bloop, open the bag.
Here's my phone. Here's my look at it, whatever you want.
Slice their little finger and tell them open the bag and drop some blood in there. There you go, you sons of bitches. Take it all. Here, do you need me to go in the bathroom? Give me a cup. Hold on, I'll be back. I can squirt out a load for you to take that.
I don't know why they would need your sperm, but
you never know, man. You take all forms of DNA, baby.
No, you literally only need like a little bit of blood, but I don't think they need all that. Well, there's a theory here. It says one of them is that Patsy struck JonBenet in a fit of rage after a bedwetting episode, because apparently she wet the bed. She was 6 years old.
Right.
And strangled her to cover up what had happened after mistakenly thinking she was already dead. However, Patsy did not have a known history of uncontrolled anger.
Right.
You don't have to have a history. JonBenet's brother, Burke Ramsey, later said, "We didn't get spanked. Nothing of the sort. Nothing close. Nothing near laying a finger on us, let alone killing your child."
Right.
Theoretically, the strangulation could have been a red herring aspect to conceal other elements of the assault and killing. Right. Focus on the strangulation and not everything else that happened to her.
Right. Yeah, this is rough.
Okay. Again,
was she one of those?
in this day and age of all these true crime documentaries and shit, how many times has always, what's one of the things people say? I just couldn't imagine them doing that. They've never been violent before. They never did anything.
And I can't, it's hard to believe, too, that a pageant mom is not going to be a little high-strung.
Right. You're supposed to be, you're not supposed to be peeing the bed. You're a sophisticated young girl. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right. We've seen it too many times.
Right. I've never seen it personally. I've read about it, yes, and watched it. Right. I guess I've seen it.
Burke, who was 9 years old, which is JonBenet's bro, at the time of JonBenet's death, was interviewed by investigators at least 3 times. The first 2 interviews did not raise any concerns. A review by a child psychologist stated that it appeared that the Ramseys had healthy and caring family relationships. Brother loves sister, sister loves bro. Mom and dad get along. Family dog's cool.
Right.
1998, Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner said during an interview with a news reporter that Burke Ramsey was not involved in the killing of his sister. May, year 1999.
Why didn't they get mad at him for publicly stating that?
Right. The Boulder County District Attorney's Office reiterated that Burke Ramsey was not a suspect. The investigators had never considered him one.
Never, ever?
Wow.
Well, the Ramseys offered a $100,000 reward in a newspaper ad dated April 27, 1997. 3 days later, more than 4 months after the body of their daughter was found, they submitted for the first time 2 separate formal interviews at the Boulder County Justice Center.
Oh.
4 months after, and they're just now being interviewed?
Right. And separately.
Well, I would hope so.
That should have happened first.
Should have happened at the scene.
Jeez.
1999, Colorado Governor Bill Owens spoke out, telling the Ramsey couple to quit hiding behind their attorneys, quit hiding behind their PR firm. Oh damn, that's the governor saying, we know you did it, you sick sons of bitches.
Wow.
Jeez.
A Colorado grand jury voted in 1999 to indict the parents. The indictment cited 2 counts each of child abuse and said the parents did unlawfully, knowingly, recklessly, and feloniously permit a child to be unreasonably placed in a situation that posed a threat of injury to the child's life or health, which resulted in the death of JonBenet Ramsey, a child under the age of 16.
Well, what are they specifically saying
How do they put
placed her in a situation that posed a threat of injury?
Right, that don't make no sense. They're inside their home. I don't understand it. Among the experts,
Unless they're trying to allude to
she got up in the night or something.
all the beauty pageants and shit, putting her out in the public, and
yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Among the experts who testified in the case were DNA specialist Barry Scheck and forensic expert Henry Lee.
October 13th, 1999, Alex Hunter, who was the district attorney at the time, refused to sign the indictment, though, saying that the evidence was insufficient for prosecution. The public thought that the grand jury investigation had been inconclusive.
Oh.
2002. Oh, so they didn't even really. The public didn't even really know that they wanted to indict him.
Right.
Oh, I wonder the outrage that would happen if they would have known.
Wow.
2002, the statute of limitations on the grand jury's charges expired.
Oh, shit.
The grand jury's vote to indict was not revealed publicly until October 25th, 2013.
What?
When previously sealed court documents were released. That's crazy.
Are you serious?
Telling you, dude, this family had connections, obviously.
Something wasn't right here, yeah. The case of JonBenet Ramsey, which is a show that was broadcasted on CBS 18th to 19th September in year 2016, used a group of experts to evaluate the evidence. The group theorized that Burke hit his sister in the head with a heavy object, possibly a flashlight, after she stole a piece of pineapple from his bowl, perhaps not intending to kill her. They suggested that the ransom letter was an attempt to cover up the circumstances of JonBenet's death.
Not my poor little Burke.
Right. On behalf of Burke Ramsey, his counsel filed defamation lawsuits against CBS, the producers of the program, and several of the participants, based on many of its claims. I mean, I guess, right? If he's not considered a suspect and they come out on national TV with that.
Tell him that he is, right?
Wow.
Even though he was even though he was never considered a suspect at all.
And they just made a 2-day show.
Wait, earlier it just said that they interviewed him 3 times. The first 2 weren't suspicious.
Right.
What happened on the third one?
Right. I guess I have to watch that 2016, right?
Yeah. The second theory is the intruder theory. The police and the prosecutors followed leads for intruders partly due to the unidentified boot mark left in the basement room where JonBenet's body was found. Early persons of interest included neighbor Bill McReynolds, who played Santa Claus, Chris Wolf, a local reporter whose then girlfriend reported him as a suspect. Oh, she was just mad.
Oh, wow.
Family housekeeper Linda Hoffman Pugh, and a man named Michael Helgoth, who died in an apparent suicide shortly after JonBenet's death. We still can't rule out that the parents had something to do with it. They could have easily hired somebody like a guy named Michael Helgoth,
and
then killed him.
Right. Oh.
Suicided him.
They paid
allegedly.
They paid him to come in and just put a boot mark here,
or kill her.
All right.
Period.
Altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then he called them like, I can't live with this. I'm gonna have to turn myself in. And they were like, oh, hell no, you are.
Right.
Right.
Suspect or the victim died of 2 self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the back of the head.
Right, well tied up.
Right.
Hundreds of DNA tests were performed to find a match to the DNA recovered during the autopsy. 2003, defamation lawsuit against the case of Wolf versus Ramsey, involving the Ramseys publicly identifying an early suspect in the case. Judge Julie Carnes wrote, oh, so that dude took him to court? Wow, nice. Good for you, Gay. He's like, screw that. You guys ain't letting him leave this.
That's how you know he's not guilty right there.
Right. The judge says this.
Because in that defamation lawsuit, like you guys seen all the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp shit, it doesn't matter if it's even related to the thing.
Yep.
They're going to come back on everything you've ever done in your life.
Everything. Well, the judge says this. Judge Julie Carnes wrote, there's virtually no evidence to support Wolf's theory that the Ramseys murdered their children.
Hey.
Their child. Wolf said that.
Involving the Ramseys publicly identifying an early suspect in the case. Support Wolf's theory that the Ramseys murdered their child.
But abundant evidence to support the Ramseys' belief that intruder entered their home at some point during the night of December 25th, 1996, and killed their daughter. That's what the judge said.
I guess I'm confused. What is that lawsuit?
Wolf versus Ramsey.
Isn't the second one named usually the defendant?
Yeah. Wolf had been suing them because the Ramseys publicly stated that this guy was a suspect.
Defendant John Ramsey is a
Yeah.
Dismisses lawsuit against the Ramseys just in 2016. So he must have in the case probably accused them of
doing it. Yeah. It was them.
Well, Lou Smith, detective in the case, assessed evidence and concluded that an intruder had indeed committed the crime. The night JonBenet was killed, there had been 2 windows that were left slightly open to allow for electrical cords for the outside Christmas lights to pass through, a broken basement window, and 1 unlocked door. Smith's theory was that someone entered the Ramsey home through the broken basement window, but not the one that's easily accessible.
Right, or the windows that are easily open. Critics have questioned this theory, though, because there was an intact cobweb in the basement's window. I mean, everybody knows.
Should be all you need to know right there.
Even if you catch a little tiny piece of a cobweb, you're taking it all with you.
That should be all you need to know.
Wow. The steel grate that covered the window also had undisturbed cobwebs, and the foliage around the grate had been undisturbed. There were also cobwebs in the tracks of various windows, and dust and debris were on some sills. Smith, he believed that the intruder subdued JonBenet using a stun gun and took her down to the basement.
When you see the marks?
Right. You're right. JonBenet was killed and a ransom note was left. Smith's theory was supported by former FBI agent John E. Douglas. Well, I instantly discredited his opinion once I heard FBI.
Well, and when you read this next one.
Oh, who've been hired by the Ramsey fam? Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, believing the Ramseys were innocent, Smith resigned from the investigation on September 20th, 1998, 5 days after the grand jury was convened against them. While no longer an official investigator on the case, Smith continued to work on it until his death in 2010.
No shit.
Author Stephen Singular, in his book Presumed Guilty in 1999, was then revised in 2016, refers to consultations with cybercrime specialists to argue JonBenet attracted the attention of child pornographers and pedophiles.
I'm sure.
Affiliated with the child pageant scene. That's what I'm saying. Is that why they're saying
right.
Put her in danger?
That makes sense. What was this John Hallgate guy or that one guy that killed himself?
I don't know.
What was his background?
He was convicted following a stabbing in the trailer park. When is the time that it'd be too frightened to give evidence? Just a random guy in the area that was probably violent once upon a time.
Yeah. It just happens, man. Quinky dink.
Right.
Singular further believes the investigation was overly focused on the Ramsey parents, hampering investigation into alternate scenarios, and the Ramseys were not responsible for the murder other than perhaps unwittingly exposing the daughter to sexual predators.
I mean, that's good enough for me.
Right.
Lock him up.
He also speculates this scenario explains why the grand jury did not recommend indicting the Ramseys' parents for murder, but for child abuse or endangerment.
Well, thanks for clearing that up because
Right.
I've been speculating.
Right. For placing their daughter in a risky situation.
All right.
So
now
they wanted to indict him for that.
So now they got to rethink the whole pageant scene. All these parents should be tried.
Right.
Put them in jail. Anybody that enters their little 4-year-old daughters and beauty
they
pageants.
would know they're at risk if something were to happen. We're gonna charge you with
maybe
child endangerment.
After this, probably everybody had to sign waivers and shit.
Right.
It was
the JonBenet waiver.
The JonBenet waiver. It was determined that there had been more than 100 burglaries in the Ramsey's neighborhood in the months before JonBenet's murder.
Really?
Well, they probably lived in a nice little neighborhood.
Right.
There were 38 registered sex offenders living within a 2-mile radius of the Ramsey's home.
Holy shit. And they didn't interview none of those people?
Really not. 2001, former Boulder County prosecutor Trip DeMuth, and that's a cop name if I've ever seen it.
She ain't kidding.
And Boulder County Sheriff's Detective Steve Ainsworth stated that there should be a more aggressive investigation of the intruder theory. Well, then do it.
Right. One of the individuals whom Smith identified as a suspect was Gary Howard Olivia, who was arrested for 2 counts of attempted sexual exploitation of a child and 1 count of sexual exploitation of a child.
So 3.
Right.
All attempted, and then he had 1 that he actually did, right?
And those charges were in June of 2016.
Okay.
Years and years later, huh? According to... we don't know it, but we think he's going to be a sexual abuser.
One of these days.
Why?
Why?
We'll just pick him up. It'll come out sooner or later.
What's that movie? They arrest you for future crimes?
Oh, yeah. The Tom Cruise movie.
No, I don't know. Is it
Yeah.
he's convicted of murder or something?
Right.
While he's a cop?
Minority Report.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oliva is a registered sex offender now and was publicly identified as a suspect in a October 2002 episode of 48 Hours Investigates.
Why was he a suspect back then if he just now got charged in 2016?
Right.
Maybe they knew of it back then or something, right?
Was he a sex offender back then?
I don't know.
Well, they just totally skipped years on
All
that.
right, the killing of JonBenet, The Truth Uncovered, broadcast by A&E September 5th, 2016, concluded that an unidentified male was responsible for JonBenet's death, based on forensic DNA analysis of evidence.
Well, they definitely weren't going to say the kid because they weren't going to get a lawsuit from CBS.
It's the same year, the 30th anniversary, so all these documentaries are coming out. And the documentary, well, if you're an unknown male, couldn't you just sue them? Like, they didn't know me, so I was technically unidentified to them, so I'm suing you for defamation. In the documentary, DNA and forensic scientist expert Lawrence Kabolinski stated that an unidentified male committed this crime. The district attorney's office investigating pedophiles indicated to former Denver prosecutor Craig Silverman that the DA's office followed the intruder theory, of course.
Right. I don't like this whole case and how it's handled, and
Well, here we go. Here.
this stuff is just ridiculous. And the FBI's involved too, so
Well, a little bit.
kind of. The Ramseys developed a relationship with District Attorney Mary Lacey in her office, which was criticized by authorities such as the city's mayor, Leslie Durgin. She was like, "What the fuck is this?" Silverman said, "Once you have conceded the possibility of an intruder, I don't see how any Ramsey could ever be successfully prosecuted." Right?
Right. They're not even going to attempt to look in their way.
Right. If you say that it's possible that somebody intruded, and then, yeah.
And now you're cozying up to the guys?
There's a difference. You say there's no way anybody intruded on this house. It had to be somebody from inside, and then the parents are in trouble. See, these guys know how to...
Well, then you can go back and forth.
Loopholes.
Well, then you can go back and forth, though, because now if you're focusing exclusively on the family, now you're not looking at the intruder theory.
All right, so, man, they're kind of screwed.
Or you look at everything.
Right. Gordon Combs, he joined the office as an investigator under Lacey when they were testing JonBenet's clothing for touch DNA. He also said that Lacey strongly supported the intruder theory and talked about it with the staff.
Although he was not directly involved in the case, he said that he was told not to voice opposition to the theory because he might lose his job. He says it just seemed weird, the whole premise of this attempt to influence the entire agency, he stated.
Right.
Alexis Bell Reich, then known as John Mark Carr was arrested in Bangkok, Thailand. Well, that makes sense. On a fucking chicks with dicks, dude.
What's the capital of Thailand?
He was arrested August 15th, 2006, following a false confession to murdering JonBenet.
Oh, geez. A false confession.
Carr, a 41-year-old schoolteacher, claimed to have drugged, sexually assaulted, and accidentally killed JonBenet. According to CNN, authorities also said they could not find any evidence linking Carr to the crime scene.
Why would he lie? You think they came and paid him off somehow?
That or just was clearly sick in the head. Maybe he must be famous.
In the confession, Carr had provided only basic facts that were publicly known and failed to provide any additional convincing details. The claim that JonBenet was drugged further cast doubt on the confession because the autopsy indicated no drugs were found in her body.
Okay.
Furthermore, Carr's DNA did not match DNA found on JonBenet.
So he lied.
26th of October, 2006. Carr sent an email to Bill Hammonds of Bill's list seeking a literary agent to help publish a manuscript that some might find controversial. Really?
Carr later sent emails under numerous pen names, including Daxus the Conqueror, Dirk Perns, and Alexis.
That's a porn name right there. Dirk Perns.
Dirk Perns. Carr later came out as a transgender and changed his legal name from John Mark Carr to Alexis Valoran Reich, or Dahlia Alexis Reich, according to the Washington State driver's license.
All right.
Samantha Spiegel, who gained a restraining order against him, alleged that Carr only intended to undergo gender reassignment surgery to get closer to younger girls in a child sex cult.
Of course, they all do.
Called the Immaculates.
They all do. Mm-hmm. Hey, I can use the women's bathroom or showers and shit now. Cool.
Allegedly.
Right. Allegedly, that's what they all do. Lynn Wood, Ramsey's family libel attorney.
Well, there you go.
Is it libel? I think it's libel.
It's libel. But there you go.
All right. I think it's libel.
I'm telling you.
Liability.
John had some connections, man.
Right, Lynn Wood. Libel. Lynn Wood, the Ramsey's family libel attorney, filed defamation lawsuits against several people and companies that had reported on the case, starting in the year 1999. They sued the Star magazine and its parent company, American Media Inc., on their son's behalf in 1999. Defamation suits have been filed by the Ramseys and their friends against several unnamed media outlets. And their friends?
I'm sure they probably, all these little medias, they just spout shit out. It was probably like, what if it was one of their friends?
Yeah, they did it. A defamation suit was filed in 2001 against the authors and publishers of JonBenet, Inside the Ramsey Murder Investigation, and that was the year 2000 that came out. The suit against Don Davis, Stephen Thomas, and St. Martin's Press was settled out of court the following year, like they all are. Mm-hmm. This is just a grab to get money now.
Oh, on the other side, John and Patsy Ramsey were sued in 2 defamation lawsuits arising from the publication of their book, The Death of Innocence, in 2001.
Really?
These suits were brought up by 2 persons named in the book who were said to have been investigated by Boulder police as suspects. Oh. The Ramseys were defended in those lawsuits by Lynn Wood and 3 other Atlanta attorneys, James C. Rawls, Eric P. Schroeder, and S. Derek Bauer.
Well, if they actually had them in the book and there's no evidence of these people, they should have lost this suit, and I bet you they didn't.
They obtained the dismissal of both lawsuits.
Of course. That's bullshit. So they can sue other people with defaming them, but I can do it. Get the hell out of here.
U.S. District Court Judge Julie Carnes later concluded that abundant evidence in the murder case pointed to an intruder having committed a crime. But that doesn't mean you can just go in and name people.
Right.
That's stupid. Everybody involved in this case is just either corrupt or stupid.
Yeah, some shit's going on here. I'd like to know the truth.
Well, wouldn't we all?
November year 2006, Rod Westmoreland, a family friend of John Ramsey, filed a defamation suit against an anonymous web surfer who had posted 2 messages on internet forums using the pseudonym Under the Radar, implicating Westmoreland in the murder.
How do you know? How do you file a lawsuit against an anonymous
IP address? But you don't know damn well you ain't gonna find that.
Right.
During a September 2016 interview with CBS Detroit and the Case of JonBenet Ramsey documentary television program, forensic pathologist Werner Spitz accused Burke Ramsey of killing his sister, which we said earlier. And on 6th of October, year 2016, Burke filed a defamation suit against Spitz, and Burke and his attorneys, who included Lynn Wood, sought a total of $150 million. Wow, in punitive and compensatory damages. Wood said he would also file a suit against CBS at the end of October 2016.
All they did is do the interview.
All right.
December 28, 2016, Burke Ramsey's lawyers filed an additional civil lawsuit that accused CBS, the production company Critical Content LLC, and 7 experts and consultants of the defamation of character.
Oh, wow.
They sought $250 million in compensatory damages and $500 million in punitive.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez. You really think you're going to get that?
Right.
That's why you do it high, so you settle for a good amount.
So for 200,000. Right.
January 2018, a judge denied the CBS motion to dismiss, and the suit was allowed to proceed. So their suits can always go to proceed, though. January 2019, Wood announced that the lawsuit had been settled to the satisfaction of all parties. I bet it did. Mr. Burke now has about $300 million in his pocket, probably.
That's some terrible shit right there. JonBenet was buried at St. James Episcopal Cemetery in Marietta, Georgia, on 31st of December, 1996. JonBenet was interred next to her half-sister Elizabeth Posh Ramsey, who had died in a car crash nearly 5 years earlier at the age of 22. Really?
Must have been her dad's from a previous marriage.
Summer of 97, approximately 6 months after JonBenet's death, the Ramseys moved to a new home in Atlanta after a summer at their vacation retreat in Charlevoix, Michigan. Patsy died of ovarian cancer at the age of 49 in 2006. She was interred next to her daughter.
I don't like this. I don't like this case at all.
No.
I don't understand it.
No, it's always is and will be a mystery.
Just about a week ago, new DNA testing in decades obviously could lead to killer 30 years after 6-year-old beauty queen. Yeah. Criminal labs have analyzed new and old DNA evidence and handed a detailed report to police. Oh. It is hoped once released, the results will help solve the mystery.
When was this?
So just a week ago.
Really?
This is according to Daily Mail, by the way, so I don't know how reputable these guys are.
Right.
I mean, shit like that, they're letting her run around in. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah. Just the fact that there was a draft of the...
Sources do not believe any of the new DNA evidence will provide a match for the family. Like, to the family.
Right. Man, I don't know.
Okay, so about this John Mark Carr guy. Under questioning, he knew details about the murder which had not been released to the public. But authorities cannot link him because, obviously, we said why.
Right.
He says, everyone was so quick to say that I was a liar or delusional. Did it ever occur to someone that I might have been trying to protect somebody else?
Oh.
He declined to elaborate, but one possible explanation that some police were open to at the time is the Ramsey killer did not work alone. Well, clearly,
right.
We know what he did it for.
Right.
When asked if he was with JonBenet when she died or if he had killed her, he shut up and did not. He said he didn't want to incriminate himself as the case continues to be investigated to this day.
Huh. Okay, so we learned nothing there, and we also learned that holy shit, as incompetent are the
as of September,
police in Boulder.
The Boulder police say there are several new people on their radar. So this is still active, guys. This isn't like an ongoing thing. Hopefully we got some more competent police work happening nowadays than... First of all, how do you not conceal or close off the kitchen area where the damn note was found?
All right.
How do you tell the dad and his friend to go search the house for the kid when you got all these cops here? First of all,
go search the house and fuck up any type of evidence that you might find.
And if you are the murderer, go potentially when you find the body, you potentially find something that you missed originally and pick it up. I'm like, holy shit, what a bunch of idiots, dude. Something's up there. Something's up.
Something fishy going on here.
Something fishy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anything we missed or something else we should know that we didn't get here? Let us know at Bang Dang Podcast or Bang Dang Network. What is it? Bang Dang Network?
I don't know.
Bang Dang Podcast?
I think it's Bang Dang Network or something, right?
At Bang Dang Network on Twitter, or you can email us at bangdangpodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment on Spotify or on this YouTube video or whatever, what have you.
What have you, snot?
Let us know what you think, who did it, and if we missed anything. What were some decent further readings?
If I had to put money on it, I would...
Allegedly.
Either the son or the wife.
Like I said, let us know in the comments what you think.
Could be anything.
Bang Dang Network on YouTube as well as everywhere else that you are on social media, and you can comment on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple, and this time I'm telling the truth here. We will be back next week for Mafia of the Month, Carlo Gambino.
About to see some people get napped.
Well, maybe.
Oh.
Well, this would be the first of many times we hear the same story in a row throughout this. Well, that we've already heard in the Gambino family episode that we did already, but
We're not specific people.
get a little bit more in depth on Carlo at least. We'll see you next week for that. We are the Mouth of Michiganders with
Dang, dang.